How is that not the greatest intro of all time?
Oh, I hate that. I love it. All right.
It's pretty good. Okay, so I'm Benito Garcia. I'm from Go RPGs, and I am the most rad nerd. Although I've got competition tonight on the show. I have my good friend Heather Foster on, who goes by, go ahead,
Ahmnestria.
Ahmnestria. It's so mysterious.
It's never taken.
I love it. It's so good. Ahmnestria. So, yeah, I'll do my best to. I had to write it out phonetically, everybody, so that I pronounce it correctly. But I'll probably screw that up. So I'm going to try not to. Ahmnestria is a DM. Do you mostly play Dungeons and Dragons or any other RPGs?
Tabletop wise, mostly just Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that's just because it's the best one.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's people out there who play Pathfinder, and they'll argue with you how great it is, but it's really. It wouldn't even exist without the greatness of
I think all tabletops are great. I just prefer the one that I like.
Yeah. I'll just say it. I don't care. Dungeons and Dragons is the best. It's really the greatest one. So Ahmnestria, let's get some things out of the way real quick. I want everybody to know where they can find you if they want to follow you or get on your journey with you as you're just starting to stream. You're going to be doing some Twitch stuff. You had mentioned your Instagram you've had for a really long time, so people can go back and see your evolution through your cosplays and your different things you're into, your art. Is that really where you post most of your art? Is a lot of that on Facebook too?
So probably most of it's going to end up on Instagram, but I am trying to keep up with everything.
It's tough.
Yeah, I know. There's so many social media platforms.
Let's see. So your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, and anything else I'm missing?
No, I think that's about everything I'm trying to juggle right now anyway.
Let's show everybody your pages. So here we are. We are on your Instagram. So I liked this video up here. I watched this just a little bit ago. I like that you can move the hand around and position it. Again, I've told you several times, I'm really jealous of people who do digital art. And I think this, even just this aspect of it is amazing, and the freedom that you get out of it. I just assume you probably love it too.
Yeah, it is a learning curve from pencil and paper. So I'm still learning. Yeah, that is a sketch I started and have not finished. But
yeah, it's great. Very talented. And then who is this person right here? Who should we?
That is me. That is a cartoon me that I drew with my favorite Pikachu shirt on.
It's so good. And look at those guns. Your guns are bigger than mine. Let's go in the way back machine. Way back. How about this one? It says June 30th, 2015.
Yeah. Oh, it goes back even further than I thought. Yeah, so that's probably pretty accurate.
That's a pretty good Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. That was actually one of my favorites because everyone just buys you a drink. It's pretty nice. Yeah, that's me making the wig.
Yeah, look how much work you put into that. That's amazing. I love when cosplayers put in the time and the effort, and this looks great.
Yeah, so I had to make the dreads and then sew each one in to that wig, and it took forever.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, that looks like a real monkey. Wait, is that a real monkey?
It is not, but I was impressed. I think it might have been a stuffed real monkey. I'm still friends with that guy. That is a pretty cool guy.
It looks like he's staring at the apple like he's going to jump on it. Let's see what else we got. I think there's a Hellboy. Yeah, this one's cool. What did you make it so that is the fist articulated or?
Yeah. So I could grab things. Wow. That is a winter glove with styrofoam glued to it.
Nice. You did amazing. That's really cool. Let's jump over to another one because we're gonna You have so many cool pages and things going on here. Let's go to what's the next one? Twitter, just
Sure.
so they can see what's up.
Do some Twitter.
So this is your real life cat too.
Yeah, that is my angry boy who's actually right under my desk. So in upcoming streams, I assume he will make appearances because he is well known in my gaming community.
Oh, that's cool. And your new purple hair.
Yes.
Awesome, what you just got. All right. Oh, more of the cat. Oh, he looks so pissed in that picture.
He's forever grumpy. Yeah.
Funny. Okay, so let me go back up here so people can find you here on Twitter. Let's look at your Twitch. Now, I know your Twitch is completely under construction.
Yes.
And I know what's about to come up is not anywhere near what the finished product is going to be. But it'll at least show people. Look for this down here. Oh, you got 20 followers. Look at you. Last time I looked, you had 19.
Oh.
You picked up one. Okay, so tell everybody what you're going to be streaming on here, or what you plan to or think you're going to.
So definitely, I'm planning on streaming the Halo 2 Battle Pass, Season Pass, when it comes out here in, gosh, it's really soon, like 2 weeks or something. So I'll be progressing through that. I'll be streaming D&D campaigns every Wednesday and Thursday is my plan, but the Wednesday one is dependent on players.
Right.
I have opened packs before streaming, just not on Twitch, and that was always fun. So I'll probably start doing that again, like Pokemon cards, Magic cards, and probably going to be doing some streaming art drawing as well on my tablet.
That's awesome. Oh, I'd love all of that. That's very cool. That's definitely something to tune into. That'll be awesome. So you said you're gonna stream Wednesday, Thursday, and that's 2 different groups, right?
Yes, so that'll be different campaigns.
That's awesome. And you're DMing those, or you're DMing one and playing in one?
Yeah, so one I'm a player, one I'm a DM. Probably dumb in both.
Awesome. There's a Facebook, and we'll just do that one super fast because I'm getting the hang of this sharing the screen thing. And look how fast. Look at this. This is crazy compared to just a minute ago.
The Facebook is also new.
Okay. But we can expect some of the same. Kind of some, hey, head over to Twitch because I'm going to be doing a thing. And
yeah, well, I was using my personal Facebook for a lot of that, and then I decided I should probably make whatever this is, public figure one.
A fan page.
It's put together. I just got to start posting content to it.
So you got a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah.
A lot of things coming up. Well, I should probably talk about me, huh? It's not all about you.
Yeah, let's talk about you.
All about you. So Go RPGs is part of a network. And the network is Synergy Nation Network, which you can see down here at the bottom. And it's a group of podcasts, shows like this, where it's, not just a podcast, or some video in there too. And the shows we've got pop culture shows, this particular show where we just talk about everything, D&D or nerdy or RPG, maybe movies that relate to that same genre. What's the one? The Weekly Geekly. They cover a huge span of all kinds of stuff between music and same thing, pop culture and movies and video games. They're on Twitch too. I need to put a link up for them at some point. They're on there as well. There's also a show called, I think there's a couple new shows that just started. I'm not exactly sure the name of them yet, but go over to Synergy Nation. You'll find them on the page, which the page is getting a brand new facelift, I think tomorrow. I think they're going to finish it up tonight. And then the new website will be up tomorrow. So anyway, head over to Synergy Nation Network. Check out all the great shows. For sure, this one will be on there, and this is the greatest show of all time. So make sure you click on this one. I'm just kidding. Everybody on the network is amazing. Super cool. Okay, so let's move into this. Let's talk about, I know in some cases people are going to be like, oh, this is boring. Like, why would you even want to talk about that? Or this particular subject. I think it's awesome. I think it's cool to have really cool kits that go along with your character. Whether you have a disguise kit, a forgery kit, what else? A gaming kit, which I was just sort of learning about today, herbalism kit, poisoner's kit, tinker's kit. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there that actually gives you benefits to some of your roles. You get proficiencies in these things, which really helps your character to advance in the story and help out the rest of your players. But there's a difference. There's a difference between kits and packs. Do you know all the packs?
Do I know all the packs?
You didn't know I was going to put you on the spot.
Yeah. So I know that there's the Dungeoners pack and the Explorers pack, which are the two most common starting packs.
Yeah.
I assume there's probably more, but it's not come up in my players.
There is more, and I didn't necessarily remember them all either. The packs are just kind of the things you start out with. It's got like a bedroll in it and like a 50-foot rope, and it's just got just some kind of common things in it that don't give you
the
any.
Adventurers one?
What's that?
That's the Adventurers one.
The Adventurers one is.
Or is it an Explorers pack? Or
The Explorers pack includes a backpack, a bedroll, a mess kit, tinderbox, torches, rations, water skins. So it gives you a lot of really cool things, but you don't get proficiency in those, and you don't get to add, this or that to your roll. But sometimes they come in handy. There's a lot of times that you're carrying around that stupid 50-foot rope, but how many times have you DM'd or been playing when someone's like, "Oh, that's right, I got a 50-foot rope."
Sometimes those ropes ruin my plans because I forget about them.
Right?
They're like, I got this rope. I'm like, dang it, you do.
Or a 10-foot pole, and you're like, shit, I forgot that you had a 10-foot pole you could stick in that, that black hole that you don't know where it goes, and it's supposed to chop your arm off, but instead, yeah, you're right.
Well, my players aren't that smart.
Does anybody in any of your games have the 10-foot pole, the cliche 10-foot pole?
One of them does. They've never used it, but at one point they had a bucket. I don't know. Am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so they had a bucket and basically anything you put in, it disappeared.
I'll be darned.
And this one player decided that he was going to stick his arm in it.
Oh, is it like a sphere of annihilation type of situation? Like it just gone?
So the way it works is, but they didn't know this, is that it teleports it anywhere.
Yeah.
And it can be also a different time.
Right.
So when they ruined my dungeon that was supposed to be underwater with this bucket, they threw it in the water and drained all the water, which I gave it to them. It was very clever.
That's very clever.
I had them flood themselves.
Very unfortunate. Huh.
So yeah, they ended up washing themselves into the cave because they got swept up in a flood, and then they had to make all these saves or get hit on rocks, and it was like a whole combat thing. It was actually really cool.
It sounds fun.
That's what they get for ruining my cave of underwater.
Who knew that a bucket could make it so much fun? Just a bucket. So anyway, yeah. So the packs are just kind of generic-y. Let's go camping. Let's go exploring. And you pack the cooler and pack your backpack or your sleeping bag. But the kits are where it really starts to get fun and interesting. So I thought there's a lot of kits out there, like I was talking about. I think we're going to keep it to just maybe 3 so that we don't just bore everybody to death in case I'm the only one that thinks kits are cool. I don't want to keep everybody on the line for 8 kits. So let's start with the Tinker's kit. And only because I think it doesn't get enough love. And I think before it was a Tinker's kit, it was called something else. But once the Warforges started to show up and they spend their downtime tinkering, I think people kind of started to come up with a Tinker's kit as a thing. So does anybody that you play with have a Tinker's kit?
Yes. So we have one artificer who basically every night, if they find something new, they are tinkering.
Cool.
And trying to learn something from it.
So do they call it a Tinker's kit, or do they call it something else?
They call it Tinker's kit, I believe, or they just say, I'm going to spend so much of this night tinkering with this thing that we found, or on this ore, right. I want to figure out the properties and see if I can make a tool or a weapon out of it. And so
right. And I know I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I'm trying to pull it up right here and I don't see it. But yeah, the idea with that is, and it should be much broader than it is. I think really everything that I ran into when I was reading about it is that it was actually kind of limited with the Tinker's Kit. The things that they were saying, let me see, I got it right here. What they were saying was you can repair mundane objects. So what they were saying was mend torn clothes, sharpen a worn sword, patch a tattered suit, or fix chainmail. And there's so much more to that. My Warforged in one of my games, they were in a boat going down a river, and of course the boat had hit points, and it had taken a lot of damage from hitting rocks and just attacks from, the side of things throwing rocks at him or whatever, boulders. And so he spent an hour being a Warforged. Of course, he's good at tinkering. Spent an hour. The reason they stopped is because the river had been blocked by downed trees and limbs. And he took some time and used those limbs and tree bits and pieces and fixed the boat, with his tinkering kit. And so that was huge for them. They got a bunch of hit points back on their boat, and they were able to continue on down the river and not worry about their boat sinking. So, I've got, there's, I think it said something about like a thread. Yeah, here we go. It's got a thread and needle, a whetstone, scraps of cloth, and leather. So, when you're building these kits, it's not that you can just pull it out of the book and you're like, well, this is what I got. I think his has a saw, a mallet, chisels. There's all kinds of things. Oil dropper, rubber tubing, wrenches, it says, however that works in the 5e world. But yeah, as far as your player goes in their Tinker's Kit, what do they have anything specific or like what's in there, I guess is what I'm asking.
All right, so mine, he has basically all of those items, plus he has stuff to examine minerals and really like get into the ores. And I allow him, if he can kind of come up with like a sort of blueprint for whatever he's going to make, I will let him craft weapons and tools. And if he does, obviously he's not an alchemist, so he can't make magical things. He would have to get into a whole new kit on that one. But yeah, so he can craft like a gun sword if he can tell me, kind of explain how he's going to go around and doing that, and if he has the materials.
Sure. So he's probably, as he's adventuring and finding little bits and pieces, I would assume then he's probably collecting these things.
Yeah, he's like a hoarder of like rocks, metal, anything that he doesn't know what it is. He's like, I'm taking that.
What a great idea to wreck your game later on.
Yeah.
That'll make you second guess yourself for letting him do these things, because all of a sudden now he has like a machine gun and things.
So there are certain roles that he also has to do in the process of like succeed or fail. I'm trying to make this.
Right.
And I was like, okay, you got to make me a performance save or check, because not every experiment works. And depending on how OP I think this idea is, the higher.
Sure.
And he's had some things just blow up in his face and he loses the material. So
I think that is actually a great idea. And it also goes along with the next one. If you're ready to move on, do you have anything else that you want to say about it?
I do also think that is an underrated kit. Depending on your DM, how much they'll let you utilize, what you can do with it.
Yeah, it's fun to give, like we were just saying, if he's collecting all these little bits and pieces, like how fun is it to let your player get to do those things and build these things and be thinking about things and just enhancing their player that much more. I think every DM should allow their players to do things like that. It's just, don't limit your player. Who knows what they're going to come up with, which could take your game and, you got a left turn all of a sudden, but it's the funnest thing that's happened because this guy was able to collect some things, or this player was able to collect some things and make something really cool that completely changed, the game. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and, it just lets you throw stronger things at them later. It's fine.
Right. Yeah, true. That's true. You can move up to a more powerful enemy or creature. Okay, so with that being said, when you were talking about, it may work, it may not work, I like to do that with the next kit, which is the Herbalist Kit. Do you have anybody that's playing with an Herbalist Kit?
The player that I am currently making will have an Herbalist Kit.
Cool. Then you are very knowledgeable on this. I'm assuming you've done quite a bit of research on this particular kit then, or you're about to?
No, so I have. Um,
It's very interesting.
Level of knowledge I could vary. Whatever. So
This is very, very powerful.
yeah,
this
like I feel like
spans
this is a very nice kit to have.
Yeah, it spans a lot of things that can happen to you as an individual player that's in your group, or your group as a whole. And the things you can do with this, when we'll get into it. And again, like I said, you probably know more than I do, is just kind of an amazing kit. Yes. Oz. Okay, do you want to talk about this then? Like what you're excited about to do with your particular
sure.
kit?
Okay, so my character is going to be Druid. She's also an adaptation druid, which is kind of a little bit of a homebrew thing. But basically, she's I don't know how to explain it. She makes nature adapt to what's going on, and so like to defend itself better. Like her philosophy is that she needs to help nature help itself because she's there to save nature. Well, I'm not sure she really likes nature. She's a druid, so she
makes sense being a druid. Yes.
Yes. So she obviously is going to have the herbalism kit because I want her to kind of be a healer as well, but like I don't want to kind of waste all these spells on heals. So I want her to be able to make her own stuff. And so that's why she has this kit. And, it kind of comes with like, plant clippers, mortar and pestle, pouches, vials, like stuff to identify herbs and stuff.
Right.
And actually with this kit, you can identify like strange plants, toxins, stuff like that. So it almost could dip into like another kit as far as like toxic plants and stuff. But I think the ability to like create antitoxins and potions and like other stuff using the plants that you would otherwise maybe waste a spell doing is very
right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the healing aspect of it, or the medicine aspect of it, is huge, especially if somebody in your group has gone down and you're able to do that, the medicine check, and you're proficient in this, or at least can help with that role by using the medicine end of your herbalist kit and get them to depends on what your DM says, but if you can get them to that 1 hit point where they don't have to make those death saves, that's huge that you can do that.
I do feel like that at some point any player that has an herbalist kit should be able to make like restorative ointments, which I feel like are almost a little OP as far as a healing item, but like it's like my like favorite thing. And I feel like if they can figure out what's in that, I don't know if there's a specific recipe for making that, but I feel like if they're high enough or they roll a good roll, that they should be able to make that.
Right, I agree 100%. And if you're worried about it being OP, maybe the ointment isn't something that happens as quick as a spell. Maybe the ointment takes a little bit of time, but still gives them their hit point back, but maybe not as quickly with it being a salve. I mean, if anybody or any DM was worried about it being OP, don't take it away from it, but maybe just change a little bit of it, of maybe the amount of time it takes for the things to kick in. Or
usually what I would do is, what if they succeed on making it, it only keeps for so long, and then after, and then it degrades and how well it works after a certain amount of time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So that's
go ahead.
So that's usually how I kind of like, because it's not always like, stuff ages. So like maybe like it's good to use for like 3 days, and then after that, it loses a 1d2 or something as far as its healing abilities.
That's a great idea, and I'm glad that you said that, because I've got a player who is just about to start putting his together, and so that's great. I love that idea that it's got a shelf life. So I'm going to be stealing that from you.
Like steal away. Also, I would like to make sure that they have like enough jars and vials to put stuff in. Like they're not just going to get these out of thin air. So you got to make sure, like if they say, I want to make a potion, it's like, okay, what are you putting it in?
Good
if they don't have anything.
That's a great point. And they just landed in a city where they live, which is extremely expensive to live there. Everything costs about 10 times more than it should. And normally we don't keep track of money, or gold pieces, silver pieces, how many of these you have and how it breaks down. I've always thought that was a little kind of a pain in the butt or slams the brakes on the game. But also you can't have all the money in the world and just go do whatever you want. So I like that idea. Now that they're keeping track of the things they're buying and the cost, I think you're right. I think making sure that if you're going to have a kit, that if you want extra things in it, you're going to have to pay for it. And a lot of the times I get lazy with not just giving them things, but forgetting that, yeah, maybe you do, just because you told me you have 4 potions or 4, whatever it is you mixed up, did you have the enough vials? Did you have enough of this or did you have enough of that? And so we could
And
do,
another thing
I could do a
is,
better job of that.
another thing that maybe, this might be too much for you to track, but like if they use a potion, they have to remember to tell you that they're saving it. Otherwise, I feel like they might have used it and tossed it.
Saving
like
it.
The little vial that they drink it out of.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like I put the vial back in my pouch.
Yeah, like it's like, well, I mean, it could be like after the fact. Some DMs are more forgiving. It's like, well, or I'll be like, are you keeping the vial if you use it? Like giving them a chance.
Right.
And of course, they're always going to. But like after a time, I'm just like, I'm not gonna remind you.
No, that's great. And I get in the habit of the storytelling and the bigger picture of all the things that are happening. I just assume, just like if I ask my player, they'd say, well, of course I put it back in my pouch. I wouldn't just throw it away. And I just assumed you would too. But, even those little things that you're talking about keeps the game more, keeps it real, keeps it more, what am I trying to say? Makes them responsible for what they're doing and not just getting, these things and everything that goes along with it by just assuming it's going to happen. So,
or one other thing you could do is if, say, they're drinking one in the middle of combat, you could have them roll some sort of save to, like, because you're in combat, you might drop it. Like, obviously you drink it, but like you might drop the vial.
Like, sure. Yeah, the fact that so many things happen instantaneously, in combat or all at the same time, maybe got knocked out of their hand.
Yeah, I can't imagine you're gonna have time to and then put it away safely,
Right. No, that's true. That's great. I'm stealing all this stuff. So hopefully all the other DMs out there who are listening to this or watching this are going to be stealing all of these great ideas. So good for you. So also being an herbalist, you can identify poisons, which is huge as well. According to the research I did, the suggested DC skill check on that is a 20. So I don't think I would probably make it that high. I think if
it would depend on the level of the character.
True. No, true.
Maybe like how severe this poison is. Like if it's a very common poison, I'd be like,
sure,
DC 14.
No, exactly. I understand exactly what you're saying. We're playing right now. I've got teams between 5th and 7th, so that's too crazy. But knowing what the poison is that they're about to come in contact with, and knowing the poisons that they're making, they should be able to recognize those, maybe the smell of something or the viscosity of it if you're able to touch it or whatnot. So that's cool that you can do that. Hopefully they'll remember. I never remind my players of what they can do, but hopefully they would remember, if they had the Herbalist Kit, that, hey, maybe I can identify this poison. So here's where we get into, crafting a magical potion, you need a recipe, access to any required equipment, raw materials, exotic ingredients as if you're making a crazy one, and the time to do it. So as I was doing my research on this, and again, I've never dealt with it till I have this new player who's coming on board, I found a chart that breaks down some of these times and costs, and I was quite surprised about some of these. For instance, you probably know what I'm talking about, but I'll give you this. So if you're going to make a potion, it's a common potion. Cost of materials, 25 gold piece. Seems kind of high, but 25 gold pieces and about a half a week's worth of work. And you work your way up, to 1 week, 5 weeks. If you're going to try to make a legendary potion, the cost of materials is 50,000 gold pieces and 25 weeks of work.
Ooh. Yeah, it's crazy. I have not looked into these time charts.
Yeah, I'll send this to you. It's very interesting. Rare potions are like 5 weeks. So then the next
Is
thing I
there is
got
there a yield on those? Like,
is there
are you
what?
craft? Is there a yield number on those? Like, are you just crafting one potion?
So I believe that you can craft as many potions equal to your proficiency bonus, I believe, was the
Okay.
number. I think. I'm saying that for now, and we'll just that's what it is. If somebody knows the answer, message me and let me know what it actually is. So then one other chart that was in here that I thought was interesting is if you're just dealing with healing potions. Not that I think that's the only one anyone's ever going to make, but I think it's probably one of the more common ones. So you're not wasting spells, or you don't have a chance to rest. A potion of healing, just your straight up potion of healing, is you can heal 2d4 plus 2 hit points. Uh, materials cost 25 gold pieces. Downtime required to make a healing potion is 1 day. And then the same thing. The chart goes down through. There's a potion of greater healing, potion of superior healing, potion of supreme healing. If you were to find the components to make that, you would heal 10d4 plus 20. The cost of the components to make it, 10,000 gold pieces, and the downtime required is 4 weeks. So these charts are actually really pretty cool. If your DM doesn't know about them, I wouldn't just hand them to him. but as
I
DMs,
don't have a player that has one, so me making this character with one should be fun.
so also that went along with that, I had found one. Go ahead. I'm going to look something up. So if you want to keep talking about your kid and maybe some of the things you're looking forward to doing with it, I'm going to find this chart here real quick.
Well, I mean, she has kind of just the basic kit, maybe with like a little bit of another kit, but I won't talk about that right now, just because we'll get to it.
How
So,
about this question? What is the first thing you're going to make, or that you're looking forward to making?
um, depending on what level this character starts at, because I don't know what levels they're gonna have him start at yet. Probably like a healing potion, or I would like to do like something to maybe like a poison resist potion. Like I feel like poison gets me a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got hit with this sword. Oh, and you're taking this poison damage on top of your slashing or piercing damage.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the poison damage is always so much worse.
Yeah. Right. And we're going to get into the Poisoner's Kit here in a minute, and it's kind of not fair to
Yeah,
get
so I feel
slapped with one of those.
crafting potions to combat these status ailments that are coming at you also very important, not just the healing potions. I guess of the two kits we have discussed, I feel like I personally like the herbal kit a little bit more, just because you know potions, and I'm personally not good at thinking of fun weapons, and but I can think of silly potions, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like they don't all your potions don't have to be, or all the things you make with your herbalist kit don't have to be super serious. You can make some super goofy fun ones too that, you know, some I don't know, a tickle potion that you somebody gets it.
Makes the player laugh for like
They just can't stop laughing because they're
10 minutes straight or something.
right. Come up with a fun, goofy name, and yeah, how fun. We used to play this campaign. It was D&D just for laughs, and I can't remember what the campaign. Oh, it was Dragon Heist, and so we just kind of made up, these off the wall characters. So because it was recorded, so we were just trying to have fun with it and not just be the regular players. And so I had a wizard who used to own a restaurant. He was a cook, and he and his wife got divorced, and she ran off with a gnome, and he was human, and she got to keep the restaurant, and he was just like done with life. So he's like, midlife crisis. He's like, I'm starting over. Decided to go to wizard school and graduated and came out, but all of his spells were food related or cooking related because he had been a chef for so long that he just couldn't get those things out of his brain. So instead of a ray of frost, he had a ray of frosting, and it was just like all these goofy, fun, not super serious
Did
things.
it
So
do icing damage?
I think so. I don't remember.
That
It
was a
was
bad pun.
it was so fun. It was a good time. His name was Todd Winkle, and his restaurant was called A Winkle in Time. He's so great. I had so much fun.
Oh, these puns are great.
It was a good one. Okay, so let's talk about the coolest kit, as far as I'm concerned, is the Poisoner's Kit. I'm very excited about this, only because it also comes with the kit doesn't come with a feat, but if you have the Poisoner's feat and you have a Poisoner's Kit, you're kind of a badass. You can do a kind of a lot of crazy stuff. Does anybody in any of your games have this particular one? A Poisoner's Kit?
Yes, one player does have this kit, and he is a witch doctor player. And he crafts poisons for his dart gun that he shoots at people.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
And so instead of vials, I have him craft darts, which he uses. I have like a little crafting list. He needs like needles from plants and vials to attach to it. But yeah, so the character is actually super fun. I kind of wish I was playing this character sometimes, but the person he plays it so well, I couldn't even begin to compare. But yeah, so he has a little dart gun, and so he also has crafted healing darts, which are kind of funny because so he has to shoot them, and he can miss obviously, and they do 1 piercing damage, and they heal for like 1d4 over. I want to say it's over like 3 rounds or something. So if they leave it in their skin, if they pull it out, obviously they don't get it.
Huh.
So sometimes on that first round, he'll do 1 point of piercing damage, and then it only heals 1. So then like the first round hit does nothing. But then the next round, they get a little bit. So it's like it's a heal over time, not a whole lot. But the same thing with his poison darts. They stay in for 3 rounds, and then the creature can take a bonus action to rip it out. But there's like a DC on successfully getting it out because it has little barbs on it,
Sure.
So I mean that's kind of like a little fun homebrew thing that we do with that. And so that's the only player I have that has that kit. But he has a lot of fun, and he has a lot of poisons that he has found like recipes for, and he's collected the stuff for. And there was one that actually gave scarlet rot to a creature.
Oh goodness!
And that does not end once the dart is so that the creature did end up dying from scarlet rot.
Wow, that's really cool. So is he picking up components and parts to make these poisons on adventures, or does he generally, is he somewhere where he can buy the components, or like is he getting venom from creatures and things?
They kind of do like a monster hunter thing where they'll every time they kill something they gotta carve it up, they gotta get like everything out of it.
Sure.
So you got the poisoner's kit person, you got the artificer that also wants random things.
Wow, right.
So every monster, if it's not blown up or burnt, gets like just carved up, and it doesn't go to waste. At least it doesn't just rot in the woods.
Right, it's getting the High Plains Indian treatment, like they used every bit of the buffalo for everything.
That same character did have a habit of collecting teeth and then trying to pay with stuff with teeth, which was just a funny personality trait. But
that's interesting. Well, let's go over real quick before we get into the Poisoner's Kit. Let's talk about that if you take the Poisoner's feat, because it kind of goes hand in hand. And I'll just read what this says. When you make a damage roll that deals poison damage, it ignores resistance to poison damage, which is amazing. So if you're fighting anything that has resistance to poison and you have the feat, that doesn't matter. Your poison works on them. You can apply poison to a weapon or a piece of ammunition as a bonus action instead of an action. I think that's really cool too. That if you're going to, I don't know, if you're going to attack something with a dagger real quick, you can wipe the blade with some poison. however you apply it as a bonus action and then attack. I think that's really cool, so that you're not running around with it on your blade the whole time.
And I think outfitting your entire party with poison weapons is also like crazy. Like before a fight, you're like, "Hey, everyone, have some poison."
Right, exactly. Or if you're close, you're side by side in combat, and I don't know how you necessarily would apply it. Maybe you have a leather glove and it has a rag on it with poison, and the guy beside you, brings his sword back, and whoosh, as it comes through to attack, it runs through that, that rag with poison on it for their attack. It's the poison, all that poison.
I do have one
so cool.
question.
What's up?
Since the person with my poison kit was all poison darts, so I don't know how this would apply. But so since if this person had the poisoner's feet, and then would them applying poison to other weapons still give that poison on the person's weapon the same since he made it? I'm guessing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be on the poisoner's weapon.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on the delivery system. But again, I'm just talking blades. But as long as your poisoner can apply the poison to someone else's weapon, that's the delivery system. That really doesn't, it doesn't matter whose blade it comes off of, as long as your poisoner constructed his poison correctly. Yeah, I think if I were playing that here at our house, that's how I do it. Anybody can dip into that poison and go for it. Is that what you're thinking? Or
yeah, that's what I was gonna do. I didn't know if some people would want to like use since now the poison's on a new character, if they want to use that character's stats, which wouldn't make any sense because they didn't make the poison. But I just thought I'd ask.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And then I think too, if you're going to be sharing your poison around, I suppose it's our job to keep track of how much poison is getting used. That rag probably only holds so much before it's losing its potency. All right. So what else do we have here? You gain proficiency with the Poisoner's Kit if you don't already have it. With 1 hour of work using a Poisoner's Kit and expending 50 gold pieces worth of material, you can create a number of doses of potent poison equal to your proficiency bonus. So we talked about that a little bit earlier. Once applied to a weapon or a piece of ammunition, the poison retains its potency for 1 minute or until you hit with the weapon or ammunition. When a creature takes damage from a coated weapon or ammunition, that creature must succeed on a DC 14 Constitution saving throw or take 2d8 poison damage and become poisoned until the end of your next turn. So with that being a bonus action, you can do that every single time as long as you got enough poison. You're just, dip, stab every time it comes around to your turn, and you're just, that creature stays poisoned as long as you hit, of course, obviously. That thing's just poisoned all the way through to the end. And I like your idea that, other people may be able to do it too. So and I didn't know, again, I've been DMing for a while, but for whatever reason, my players haven't gotten into any of these type of things. Like I was talking about the Herbalist Kit. Now I've got somebody who wants to start doing the Poisoner's Kit. I'm really finding out some cool stuff about these things. It sounds like you've already been dealing with them and having a good time with it.
Yeah. I have a creative bunch that I play with, so they keep me on my toes.
Right? That's so fun. I love having to make stuff up on the fly. Okay, so let's talk just real quick. Do you have anything else you want to talk about Poisoner's Kit real quick? Because I want to talk about the opportunity to fail with a Poisoner's Kit.
I think it is also very useful to have in a party along with the Herbalist Kit.
Yeah, I'm very excited for these people to start using these and seeing how it changes the game. You do, as DMs, we do everything we can to spice up combat. Just the mechanics of combat sometimes takes the fun out of combat. It's the math and it's the this, and then the somebody not being ready when it's their turn or wanting to do something and then finding out partway through they can't do that. And there's so many things that go against keeping combat moving and it's fun and exciting that I think these kits could really, add that little bit of extra into that. So it's not always hack and slash. You can do some other things that bring some excitement to it. Okay, so if you're ready, let's talk about mishaps because I love this. Do you deal with any mishaps with your poisoner?
I have not actually. I just, as long as he takes the time, I have let him succeed.
Sure. You just assume that's his feat. I mean, it makes sense that you just assume he knows what he's doing, so the poison probably works. I like too when you're talking about your herbalist kit. Does your poisoner, do you put a shelf life on that stuff also?
Uh, it was a little bit harder for me to figure that out because it's in darts.
Yeah.
So I didn't. So the campaign with this player is actually done, but I didn't at the time. But now going back, I feel like did have too many darts, so I probably should have.
Right. There's that rule too, like with darts or any ammunition. I think it's in combat you can only retrieve half of what you used or something like that. So yeah, I tend to be lazy on that also. I tend to like, my rangers or whatever. They're like, I'm gonna go pick up my arrows and like, okay, go get them, and not even think about that. It. You just got to put those limitations on them, and sometimes I don't think about that, and I wish I would. There's some games now where I can do that, where these players are gone, but when you set a precedence for someone, it's hard to go back and just say, well, you just can't go get them all anymore because I read in the book where it actually says you only get half.
I did. If the monster ripped it out, I did, say that one was gone, like it got crushed or whatever. But yeah, like I probably should have put more limitations on that one. But it's okay. The campaign was still fun, and that's what matters.
Right. I got really lucky one time too with you're talking about your characters gone. I got lucky because as a new DM or newer DM, you don't realize the importance, not the importance, you don't understand necessarily how too many magical items can just shit can an entire game. And then kind of sort of as I was starting out, I was just Mr. Here, yeah, you go to the magic shop and yeah, he has these and you want this and yeah, he's got, we'd roll to see if the shop had them, but between me doing that and finding things on adventuring, I just had the most powerful fucking players in the world, and being a little lax on you can only be attuned to 3 magical items, and so I got a gift from the gods. One of my players had come up to it was a deck of many things,
Oh
and
no!
so not knowing what it is, he announced he's going to draw 3 cards. So and everybody else knows what it is, just sitting around the table. Everybody's on the edge of their seats like, oh shit, what's going to happen? The very first card he drew was all magical items in your party are now regular items. Everything was gone. I got a fresh, clean slate to completely start over. Of course, they're all pissed off and mad, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, whew, okay, now I can redo this the right way and not give everybody too much stuff and OP it. So that I was extremely lucky. That was a rookie mistake that I wish I would have known earlier on, is don't give out too much magical stuff. Have you ever had that where it's too much?
I've been, let's see, how do I put this? I give my party useless magical items.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to think of ways to make them useful, which I assume the bucket of fuck it would be kind of useless, and that was
Right.
my fault. I should not have been thought that was useless items. But like I gave my party a grenade of many things.
A what?
A grenade.
A
So
grenade
you
of
pulled
many
the pin and you were supposed to throw it, and you rolled it was only like a 1 through 10, so rolled a 1d10 to see what you got.
Okay.
And so the party member was like, "Oh, I want that." So he bought it from this wandering merchant, and he pulled the pin, and I was like, "Are you throwing it?" He's like, "No, I'm just gonna hold it." And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "All right, well, you're gonna take 3d4, explosion damage as this thing blows up, and then I need you to roll me a 1d10." And some of the stuff on it, most of it was like silly, and like some of it was helpful, some of it like decreased your intelligence by 1, stuff like that. And he ended up getting just a random naked old man, just appears confused, doesn't speak your language. And they spent like 25 minutes chasing this man through the forest because he appeared screaming naked and just took off running. And they were like, And the guy that was like, "Hey, I bought that old man," so he chases after him. And then I'm like, okay, you gotta make all these rolls to try to catch the guy, and he kept failing. So there was like a chase of. It was ridiculous, but
That sounds awesome.
It was funny.
It sounds good. Okay, we did really good staying on topic. We just took a left turn. Our first one. I'm so proud of us that we did all. We did so good up to this point.
You did ask me this question.
It was my fault, but I am so proud of us. If everybody out in watching us land were to ever be a part of anything that happened before this, we were all over the board talking about 50 billion things. Let's get back to Poisoner's Kit.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about mishaps. So the idea is, even though this is your feat, things happen. And some of them are just due to carelessness, or hurrying, things like that. And it's not that you're not a good poison maker, but things happen. So things like, an example is not every time when you go to extract venom or make a poison that things are going to go nice. Sometimes there might be a catastrophic failure. And things might happen to you, but that does not mean that your GM or DM should rush over to this chart every time you fail. We don't want to just kick their ass every time. But here's it's a 1d6 roll. So I'll just go through it. Number 1, the poisons you are working with accidentally explode into a fine mist, making make a Constitution saving throw against the DC of the poison/venom. On a fail, you become poisoned for 24 hours.
Oh.
2, you have a small hole in your thick leather glove, and the venom has found its way through and has absorbed into your skin. Again, making the Constitution save. If you fail, you take 2d10 poison damage as it begins to eat away at your skin. Number 3, you mindlessly wipe your forehead of sweat, and some of the poison/venom has gotten into your eyes. Make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed, you are blinded for the next hour as your eyes burn so badly that you can't open them. 4, the venom you are working with has become contaminated and seems to be losing its potency. You must succeed. You must succeed on the DC 15 Poisoner's Kit check to try to save what venom you have left. Number 5, the recipe for poison called for you to quickly stir the ingredients together. Unfortunately, you were a bit too hasty and splashed the poison onto yourself. And again, you make the save. On this particular one, if you fail, you take a level of exhaustion as the poison drains your strength. And then the final one, you accidentally read off the wrong recipe, and the poison you were working on turned to a weird black goop, ruining part of your Poisoner's Kit.
Oh no.
So I thought that was kind of fun. Like, it's not, you obviously you wouldn't do that every single time because that would take the fun out of your, whoever's using who has the poisoner's feet. But maybe every once in a while, something happens. Or if we're in the heat of battle, you're not making poisons at that point. But if there's distractions or things going on, I thought that sounded kind of fun.
Don't swing at me just yet. Hold on. Just mix this poison.
Right. So what is in a Poisoner's Kit? We jumped around and we missed that first part, but components generally are, I think a lot of them are the same or pretty close to that Herbalist Kit. Components to a Poisoner's Kit include glass vials, mortar and pestle, chemicals, and a glass stirring rod.
Yeah, so that's what I got.
So, and again, as DMs, I'm sure you and I both would agree that that's how your kit could start, but you could really start to add other things to that. You could add, I don't know what those little scales are called, the one you hold up and it's got the, the things on each side.
Mm-hmm.
That could be in there, or, who knows, even all the way down to the Herbalist Kit has the, little scissors or the snips. I think it would be, as long as maybe you set a weight limit on the kit, I think it would be fun to cut somebody loose and put all kinds of cool stuff in their Poisoner's Kit as long as it makes sense.
I feel like they should have a concentrator, something that would concentrate your poisons to make them a little bit stronger, maybe.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. What else does it say about Poisoner's Kit? There's a medicine aspect to it. When you treat the victim of a poison, your knowledge grants you added insight into how to provide the best care for that patient. I like that as
I
well.
feel like the herbalist and the poison person would be like trading notes all the time.
Right. Yeah, you're right. That was something else. I'm glad you said that. Trading notes. I had read something also that says if you're going to have a poisoner's kit or an herbalist kit, one of the most important parts of the kit is having a notebook to write things down. And if your player doesn't have one, the chances of failure are higher because they're trying to make things based on memory and, exact. You have all your exact measurements written down, and. So I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, and
Let
it's not provided in the kit, so that is something to think about if a player
right.
is.
Yeah, it's not something I would have even thought about until I read it, and then it's like that makes perfect sense. Handling poison, your proficiency allows you to handle and apply a poison without risk of exposing yourself to its effects, unless you have a hole in your glove, apparently. So yeah, I mean, if just thinking of all the different players who could use this, obviously the biggest one I think is the rogue, don't you think?
A robe or an alchemist, even maybe.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. So the poisoner's kit is very, very cool. What do you think about? So when you're talking about poison, you're dealing with venoms, and you're dealing with whatever you're trying to get the venom from. You're trying to milk a dead creature is obviously easier than trying to milk a live creature. But things like purple worms or poisonous snakes, wyverns, things like that. Um, I'm curious because again, I'm just starting with this kit with my player. How do you handle that? Is there any chance? Just the fact that they have that feat just sort of gives them the ability to do that. There's not really any mishaps with that.
No, so I make them roll me a survival.
Okay.
If they are trying to they have to tell me what they're trying to do, and then I make them roll a survival. And depending on how hard I think that would be, like extracting the poison sac out of a tiny little snake, it's gonna be
Right.
difficult.
Right.
So there's a chance where they're trying to, it's like, I want to get the venom out of this dead snake. And it's like, okay, roll me survival. And if they pass, they'll get a little bit of venom. And maybe they have to milk like 5 snakes to get enough for whatever they need.
Mm-hmm.
Or, they could not be so fine tuned with a knife and like slice it open and spill the venom all over the
Sure.
place.
Okay, that makes total sense. Trying to cut that sack out and you slip, and I suppose the other things too are on what kind of damage and how much damage did this creature take. Or what
Yeah,
areas.
like if you blew the head off of it, you're not gonna get the.
Yeah. True. Or partially blew its head off. We'll see if you can find the sack in the chunks or the pieces, or if it survived. Yeah, that's great. Again, that goes back to not just handing your players everything because they say I'm going to go cut the sack out. Poison
Yeah,
sack.
usually if something has been burned to death, there's really nothing they get out of it.
Yeah,
And
that makes sense.
anything that might have been fireproof, like jewelry or a weapon, part of a
Right.
weapon.
Well, listen, I am so glad that I'm not just, this isn't just cutting us off at the end. I'm really being serious. I am so glad that you came on because you have given me so many things to think about when dealing with these two new kits that are just about ready to enter into my game. 2 players with these kits. And yeah, thank you for a lot of the things that you've brought up, the things I just didn't even think about. I love it. And it's going to make the game so much better for them, make them work a little harder or make them, not just.
It's gonna be so immersive,
I know. I love it. I love it. It's so great. Okay, so other things that go along with poisons is obviously you can buy poisons or buy components. In some cases, you're going to pay a lot of money for them, but if you go to the right shop, you may be able to buy some of the things when they go into town. But how do you handle that? That's something that I'm kind of okay with. When we go to a town, the first thing everybody wants to do is go to the magic shop and do this and go to the blacksmith and this and that. How do you? Let's stick with the kits so we stay on topic because we've been doing such a good job. How would you handle somebody going to town and buying components for Poisoner's Kit or Herbalist Kit?
Well, I guess first it depends on the type of town. if you would even have access to the kind of poisons that they're trying to get.
Sure.
It's
Let's
like
say
it's
let's say it's a pretty good sized town.
okay. So it probably has a decent trade, and so then there's the fact of maybe this town doesn't like poison, people selling poison, so maybe they gotta like traverse some sort of black market area for these
Okay.
poisons
Yep.
instead
Like
of
it.
just saying, "Oh, there's poison shop right there."
No, I like it.
Um, and then obviously, rolling to see if the shopkeep even likes them. Do they want to sell to them? And then there's like a final roll of, do you have this item? Like you, it sounds like you've
Sure.
already done that one.
Yeah, we do. What you're saying, I do quite a bit of already. I like the one of does the shop owner like you or not? That's a pretty good one. Where you're like,
I mean,
"Oh,
yeah,
I'm
like
good."
if they don't like the party's just coming in demanding stuff.
Right?
I'll sell you.
Yeah, I like it.
Um, yeah, so I guess and maybe adding that aspect of, well, it's not so common in this town, but like if you find the black market, so like there could be like a whole little stealth element. I don't know how stealthy your parties are.
Yeah.
Mine are not stealthy.
I have I've got a player now who's fairly stealthy. He's really working on building this really good stealthy character. Based on his character, he has, in every city he goes to, he has a contact that, is kind of seedy and knows about the underground and kind of the illegal activities. And so we could get into that. The other characters, normally when they come into town, are diplomatic and do a lot of not intimidation roles, but charisma things and, trying to deal with, they're just not swarmy. They don't just come in and will know how to get to the black market. So the city that they're in now definitely has a black market because magic is outlawed in this city unless you buy a license. And the license is 5,000 gold pieces to practice magic. If you get caught practicing magic without a license, you get 3 warnings. And on the 3rd warning, it's execution. Like they don't
Those are
screw
some
around in this
steep
town.
rules.
Yeah, they don't. The town is called at Katla. And it was pretty big back in the day with Dungeons and Dragons with the Forgotten Realms. It kind of got lost between Baldur's Gate and all the other Waterdeep and all the other ones that kind of get all the glory right now. There's a lot of maps now that don't even have this town, but it's literally the largest port city on the Sword Coast, and it's just got awesome cartels, and it's just really a cool place. And it's too bad that it's gotten forgot about. I stumbled on it on accident, and those guys, part of their deck of many things was one of the cards they drew was a keep. A keep just appears in a town. Well, it's the DM's choice that you control. It's yours, and it comes with servants. And I thought it would be more fun if they picked the town, and they did. And this is the town they picked before really, I think, getting into understanding what kind of a town they were in. So yeah, it definitely will have a black market, and it'll be fun to explore that. I might pick your brain some more on black market stuff and how you deal with that, because I just haven't had to yet. It's funny that I've been DMing for 3 years, and there's just so much to learn, and I don't know what I don't know, and you bringing things up is great. So I hope that helps everybody else out there too, that give them some things to think about.
Yeah, I think I've been
And
DMing
contact
for
you.
a year. A little
What's
over
that?
a year. I think I've been DMing for about a year and a half.
Really? And look how much more you know than me. Huh. I don't claim to know everything, so that's at least I'm honest.
I do not either. And I mean, half of being a DM is just telling your player's story.
Yeah, it's so fun. I love everything about being a DM. I miss playing as well, and I've got one of the guys in my group is going to give us a little campaign so that I can play and take a break after all this time. But we're getting off subject. Let's stop it. We did amazing job. I think we kept it to about an hour by the time I edit this down and get some of the ums and ahs out. And there's some hiccups that you guys won't even know about because I'm going to edit it right out. It's going to look like a perfectly smooth show.
You edit this part out?
So let's end it there. I think we did a good job talking about all the kits that we wanted to talk about. And the next time that you're on, hopefully everything that you have going will be up and running, and you'll get all kinds of followers, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think once we get this D&D campaign started streaming, it's gonna be gonna be a wild ride.
Yeah, you talk about all the things you're going to do on Twitch. I'm very excited about to come watch all that stuff. That's going to be really cool. So this is Heather Foster, also known as, I'm going to try it. You ready?
So I'm waiting for you to try.
Ahmnestria.
Yeah.
If people see that I have it written down like phonetically and how I have it phonetically, they would laugh, but I got it right. Ahmnestria. So cool. And I am Benito Garcia, the most rad nerd. Although now I'm not sure after this show. You might be the most rad nerd.
Nah, I won't steal that from you.
If you tell people the same thing over and over again, they start to believe it. So I've been telling people I'm the most rad nerd for so long, they might believe it.
I believe it.
All right. So again, everybody, please check out all of her social media places that she's going to be. When I post this video, I'll make sure that I have all that stuff listed in there. Check out right below me over here, Synergy Nation Network at synnation.net, and check out all the really super cool shows on there. I love that place. And I don't just love it because everybody invites me to be on their podcast. It's because there's a lot of really, really cool shows on there. And go check that out for sure. Okay, so Benito Garcia, heading out. Heather Foster, thank you so much for coming on. I actually learned a lot, and I'm going to implement it into my games.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.